Hey, good day, viewers. Welcome back to the Preaching Humanist with David Oliverio. That is I. Let me take this off here. I thought I'd do a quick little episode. I'm out here at Lady Bird Lake, one of my favorite destinations on my activism for secular humanism on Saturday mornings. You can see and hear the traffic, and there are many cars under the bridge. I was under this bridge on the walking trail and a few miles down, one of my other favorite destinations. You can see my shirt with the misspelled word secular. I know, a typo. So I want to share a little story with you today. I took some pictures of young people that approached me with my signs this morning. One was a Christian, two were fellow atheists and humanists. They were all young people. I like that. I want to reach the younger generation and those people that have let go of belief in God. They're looking for something similar, yes, to church. And that's what these secular humanist communities that I promote are like. That's helping these people, these young people, to find a landing zone, a safe landing zone, and something that replaces the way they were raised in church without the God and the Bible and the supernaturalism. I had a young lady approach me. She was about 34, 35 years old, and a young, very sweet, very nice, compassionate Christian lady. I took a picture of her, and you can see her on my Preaching Humanist Facebook page. Now, if you're a fellow atheist and you like to have dialogue with believers, and you are still what I call at that angry stage of atheism, and you think you can make a better world through anger, through hatred, through not agreeing with my concept and idea of finding common ground with all humans, because humanism is a human-centered way of life which values worth, dignity, respect, freedom, and equality for all people. We can have our differences, and boy, do we ever. Now, this young lady approached me, and we talked for about 10 minutes. She was an evangelical Christian, borderline, but she was educated enough, because she was a therapist. She was educated enough to understand that all humans can be good without belief in God or belief in a God. Because my signs clearly says secular humanism, good without a God, belief in a God. She was already at that point, so she was not angry. She was not there to change me. She approached me. She was curious to understand this thing called humanism. I explained it to her. I told her the concepts which predated Christianity by hundreds of years through Confucius and Aristotle, the other Greek and Roman philosophers. This concept of loving all of humanity, of altruism, kindness, and being happy and moral without belief in anything supernatural. She didn't have a problem with that. Now, as we talked, she was so surprised she had to interrupt me. She said, "Sir, I have never, in my years of Christianity, ever talked to an atheist like you. The atheists that I talk to tend to be very, very angry, and they want to fight and argue." Now, I had to explain to her, yes, there are some atheists like that, but a lot of us are not like that. And I also told her that on the Christian side, there are some of these very angry, hateful type people too, T-O-O also. Now, if you think you can change the world and remove people's belief systems and change their belief systems through hatred, through attacking their belief system, to trying to change their belief system, you're not going to be able to change someone who is operating in pure faith. This young lady was already educated. She was close enough to understand the concepts that goodness is a part of being human. It's analogous throughout humanity. She didn't have an issue with me as an atheist. I asked her a question. I said, "Young lady, what have you learned talking to this old former preacher, now secular humanist preacher? What have you learned today? She said, a lot. I have learned, even though I love Jesus, I have learned that there are people that are ethical, that are moral, that are not angry, that are not hateful to others who have a different worldview. Certainly, I have never, ever run into someone like you. I get that often. Now, that concerns me. I'm not saying I'm the only person out there that talks to believers that is kind and nice and ethical. I know a lot of people out there that are just like me. They come up to me every Saturday morning, dozens of them this morning, who are already atheist or agnostic, who long for the community. They come by, thumbs up. They ask for literature about groups here in town and the national groups. I promote these groups. But this young lady learned something, and she was very appreciative and thankful. And I told her, I hope you go tell your pastor tomorrow morning about your conversation, your dialogue with this old former Christian preacher, current secular humanist preacher, about how human beings find common ground. Now, I told her clearly, I am fine with you believing in the supernatural and your God, as long, contingent upon the fact, as long as you do not discriminate, hate, and use your freedoms and equalities to discriminate against other people's freedoms and equalities. As long as you can keep your beliefs out of government and all the other encroachments that the evangelical right does, I don't have a problem with you and what you believe. It doesn't pick my pocket or break my leg, like Thomas Jefferson said. That's fine with me. She was blown away. Many believers I talked to out here through the years are very surprised that when I tell them I'm an atheist, that I'm not angry and bitter, filled with resentment, and I want to chew them out and tell them how wrong they are. Folks, think of baby steps. Think of slow evolutionary change, because these people slowly, each generation, are coming to the knowledge that all people can love and get along even if we disagree. Just like John Stuart Mill said in his book on liberty, right? You can disagree, you have freedom, but you respect people. You don't have to agree with their beliefs. You don't have to even respect their beliefs, but you look for that common ground. One day, that young lady I talked to, one day she may have some doubts, she may have some fears, she may have some skeptical ideas in her head of her belief system, and she may remember this old guy here that treated her kindly. One day, if not, as long as she doesn't push back against secularism and push back against other people's rights, I don't care. There you have it, folks. A good productive day of normalizing atheism and putting a face on that which is being demonized. Remember, to love humanity. To love is human. My new sign next week I'm going to get made. I know that shall offend some evangelical Christians. Whatever I say offends them. It doesn't matter how nice I am. But all the other believers who are changing slowly and becoming more liberal and more progressive, they don't care. That's a good thing. All right, so remember to let the light and the compassion and the love of secular humanism shine. Have a wonderful day.
What are we doing, man? What are we doing?
No, you're done.